Sunil, yeah, tell me.
Sunil. Yeah, Sunil. Sorry for that. I need the access for Himach. The what we say because I reinstalled it. I'm getting some error, so I reinstalled the Himachi.
Okay, you send me the
I
print
need
screen.
that.
Send me the print screen of
Yeah,
Hamachi.
for
I'll approve.
yeah for okay for that. The problem is I didn't. Somebody has deleted the MDM tool access. I didn't see any files in it.
Okay, fine. Let me check. I am
If
not
you
sure. I
yeah.
think I have to see.
Sunil, Sunil, when did you start? I joined a little late.
No, haven't started yet. Okay, 1 second. I think I'll have it on
Because
my desktop.
we need to we need to join the existing network because I reinstalled it. So I need to join the existing network. I need those details to send you a request.
Okay, I've uploaded. It will be done in 1 minute. It's done.
Okay, just yeah, I will send you a request once it's done.
Okay, right. So let's start.
Okay.
Okay, today we'll try to understand the user exit, which is now you're in a position where you can understand user exit. Hierarchies we will cover, but probably hierarchies we'll do it on Saturday or something because I'd like to do it in a single session. It'll take a bit long time and it's slightly boring as well, hierarchy. And in many projects you might get a chance to implement, might not. Doesn't matter, so we will learn. So that's the concept, but not now because it's boring. See, user exit, actually all these topics are slightly different, but most of them, it's simple only. Even hierarchies is also simple. It's not complicated, but few steps you need to remember, that's it. Otherwise it's simple. Let's check the user exit.
Will are we gonna cover the real time schedule something?
Real time?
Real time process in
Real time
Informatica
process
module.
will come, that's what SIF is. Okay, SIF
Got
and JMSQ. Okay, they are there only for real time only.
okay.
Okay, right. So let's start. So what exactly is user exit? What is user exit? User exit to people who are coming from ETL background or let's say power center. Just a quick thing for them. You would have seen something like preload and postload. So you would have seen preload, postload, preload target, postload target, preload source, postload source, right? So this is the same feature. Okay. So now I will explain it for everyone who has no idea on Power Center or anything. User exit is basically customization. Okay. So when I use the word customization, what exactly is customization? Customization basically means let's say like okay, let's say you want a sandwich, not sure about the spelling. Let's say if you want a sandwich, so you want a sandwich with sugar sauce. So nowhere in the world you will get a sandwich with sugar sauce. No one will give you honey or sugar with sandwich. They will give different things but not sugar, right? You go to a restaurant and you will ask that you'll request this product. They will say that we can give you sandwich and sugar also we can arrange, but normally we don't provide a combo. So that is customization. So your requirement is you want sandwich with sugar. So you take you do the customization. Who does the customization? You will do the customization using a feature called as user exit. Another example is, let's say you are purchasing a bike. Okay, in a bike you want truck tires. So your requirement is you want truck tires in a bike. Strange, but let's say that's your requirement. You will ask the bike guys, they will say that no, we can't do that. We don't do anything like that because it's not safe. It's not safe. We don't do it. So if you want, you can go to a custom shop and customize. So customization basically means something that is not a feature. All right. So if the showroom can do it for you, then it's not customization anymore. It's just a product, right? So that's the meaning of customization. Customization means, let's say client gives you a requirement, gives a requirement. You will analyze the requirement. You will analyze that, okay, I need to do this. These are all the things that needs to be done. Now let's say delta detection. Client is saying that, okay, you guys have to use the delta detection logic. So just do it. Then this is something that comes as a feature or as a built-in feature. All right. Built-in feature. So this is not user exit. Okay. You go to the staging table properties and configure it. So this is not user exit. But imagine if Informatica wouldn't have given any delta detection. Let's say there is no delta detection logic in MDM. Then this would categorize under customization. Okay, that's what in English terms I was trying to explain customization. Now still there will be a confusion. Okay, you have explained this, but like, okay, sandwich is good, but how does that relate to Informatica? So we will see some different type of sandwiches, then probably you will understand. So if I go to user exit this folder, then this user exit theory, this contains some use cases on user exit. So these are practical use cases. There are some 10 use cases, out of which we will go through some 4 or 5 use cases, and remaining use cases you can go through that later also. Now I will enlarge this a bit. All right. So you can see like 1, 2, 3, 4, many things are there. Let's check the second one, because first one is just for your understanding. First one is a requirement where you can also do it without user exit. Okay, so let's check the second one, then probably you will get some idea that why do I need user exit. Okay, so what does this requirement say? This requirement says that, just 1 minute. Okay, detect the delta count and log it in an audit or archive table every day. So this is very simple. What it contains, two things. So you have to detect the count of the delta, and log means store it in a table. All right. So every day you are getting some count. You understand the delta process. So there might be millions of records, but delta means change data or new data. So that count will always be less. So every day you need to detect this delta count, and you need to store that in a audit or archive table every day. That's the requirement. It's very simple. Now you might be thinking, why someone will give a requirement like this? I mean, what's the point? What will someone means a business person, gain from this? Let's say if I have a delta count for every source system, then I know this clearly that, okay, I've got CKR, I've got MLO, then I can create a graph. So, okay, today I got 5,000, tomorrow 10,000. So something like this, a yearly graph I can create, right? And sometimes I will see a spike. That is, let's say on Saturdays, they give 70,000 records per day. 70,000 records per day. Okay. And then in normal weekdays, it is like normal. So this thing, it will help me to understand that how can I plan my things, because you can see that, okay, delta is increasing. and on some days, not on every day, and on some days it is quite low. So it helps me to plan my whole infrastructure. That's one thing. And if you see the the third one, if the count exceeds a certain number, then fail the job. Is someone crazy? Like, why would someone do something like that? Fail a job if it exceeds a count. See, if it if something exceeds a count, then that raises a red flag. Why? Because see, every day you need to run the jobs. All right. Now there will be dependencies. Once your job completes, something else will start. So someone is waiting for you. All right. Now if you sleep, let's say if you take long time, then that guy will be impacted. So that job will be impacted. All right. And if I get like 2000 records per day, that's okay. I mean, that's less, no problem. If I get like 500,000 records per day, then that's a issue. That's issue, right? I can't process 5,000 records. Impossible. I mean, 500,000 on a working day. I mean, I can do it, but on a weekend, not on a working day. So that's why I will fail the job and inform them that, okay, you're giving me like more than 20K. I can't do it on a working day. I'll run your job later. So these two things are related. Okay. Now just try to understand. Imagine uh, how can I implement this requirement? How can I implement this requirement? So what will I need? I need to access the count of delta, because that whole game is on the count of delta. How can I take the count of delta? Because just imagine, like, when you're processing, you will see there is something called as a landing table, then there is something called as staging table, then there is something called as base object, many things, right? Now, so typically the delta is calculated in this area. That is something that you are aware, that delta is normally calculated from landing to staging during a mapping. But I would like to access the table that contains the count of delta. Okay. And actually, just for your information, that table is called as stg underscore dlt. This is the name of the table, stg underscore dlt. All right. So you might not have heard about this, but this is the table. But we still have a problem. The problem is, see, when this table is loaded, if you go and check this table, you will not see this table. So you just go and check this table in database. You won't find this table. You will see this table in a runtime. So when you run a job, then this table is created by Informatica. Then this table is dropped as well. Created and dropped. Okay. For example, if I access the logs, see here, I am trying to access the logs, then I can see that clearly in the logs, this information. So I will go to the application server logs. Okay, so I'll delete this logs. Okay, so this is my application server log file, and if someone ran the delta job, okay, all right, can you see this? What do you see here? Create table cstg sat country underscore dlt. Can you see that delta table is something that is created? Okay, so you will also see that this table will be dropped as well. So this table is something that will be created and it will be dropped also. You can check it. You will also get the drop syntax as well. Not now if you rerun the job, okay, but you will get it So this is something, it's created temporarily. The delta results are stored. You can see here, create table this, and the delta results are stored. And once it is done, okay, you can see it's created. And something, the delta count is inserted with 2 records and later it is removed. Okay, so let's imagine sir, that there is nothing called as user exit. There is no feature called as user exit. Then how can you implement this requirement? Just try to understand, how can I implement this requirement without user exit? What I can do is I can run the MDM mapping. I can run the MDM mapping. After that, I can run a script that takes the count of delta DLT table. If there is no feature like user exit, I can do that. I can do this something like this. But this also has a problem. The problem is, I told you that this delta table is created in runtime and dropped also. So when you run the mapping, this DLT table, there is no guarantee that there will be data in this DLT table. Okay, so that is why you can't run this script without, I mean, like this kind of concept, you can't run it. Okay, to run this, see, understand that user exit is nothing but it is also a script just like this. So run a script that takes the count of delta. User exit will also do the same thing, exactly same thing. But what is the extra thing? The extra thing is it will do it with the support of Informatica. So user exit is a script that will run inside Informatica. So you will see that this is where you need to upload the user exit program. So user exit, this is where you need to upload your user exit program. So it's not any external script. You have to upload it here and it will run under MDM's jurisdiction. Okay, so that is why you will see that for most of the requirements you cannot implement these requirements without user exit, because if you do it without user exit directly, let's say using a Unix script, if you try to implement, then there will be problem with the timing. So what time the delta table is loaded? Do you know what time the delta table is loaded exactly? No idea, because who knows? Informatica knows when this is loaded. So that is why we will use a user exit which is exactly script only, but we have different user exits like pre-stage user exit. We've got something like post landing user exit. We've got post stage user exit. So you will see that I've got something like this: landing, staging, base object. So see here, uh, pre-land, post-land, pre-stage, post-stage, pre-load, okay, post-load. You understand, right? The timing is important when you want to execute the script. So that is very important, because uh, if you execute, let's say this script, this one, insert into the delta table, select count from the, insert into this archive table, select count from the delta table. Let's say if you do it in pre-landing, first of all, there is no user exit called as pre-landing. It starts with post-landing. Just to explain, I am just showing you. Uh, see, so for everything there is pre-post. So pre-match, post-match. So if you want any customization before match, you have to call this user exit. If you want it after match, you call this. Similarly, if you want Um, anything before load, you do this. After load, you do this user exit. Okay. Before staging, after staging. What is the difference? You can understand. Before staging means what happens? The reject table, the staging table is not populated. So before staging, pre-staging, that's not populated, reject, but it is populated here. Also, there is nothing called as, just for your understanding, these two user exits, they don't exist. Okay. So they don't exist. Just for your understanding, I'm putting it. The understanding logic is like before every process and after every process, pretty much like you will have a user exit. So you can do customization. So before match, after match, then before merge, then after merge, then before unmerge, then after unmerge. So we have these different types of user exits. Okay, I think pre-merge, post-merge, yeah, all of them are there. That's correct. Pre-match, post-match. So all these user exits are there. Now, which user exit you have to implement? That depends upon your requirement. For example,
Don't
in
have pre-land.
pre-land, we don't have a user exit called as pre-land. Just for your understanding, I put it. Okay, there is no user exit called as pre-land and pre-load. Why? Because first of all, pre-land is not our area. That is ETL's area. So there is no question of pre-landing. We have post-landing. Now, why don't we have something called as pre-load? Because Informatica thinks that this is not necessary. And Informatica thinks that this is like same as this. So Informatica has removed this. But doesn't matter for you, since you are learning, just think that before after every process we have something like user exit. Okay, and which user exit to implement? See, all of them are pretty much same. They are all same only. There is no difference. The only thing is, if you implement post stage, post match, so let's say post match user exit, then this will run once matching is done. So once matching is done, then only this will run. So same goes with, let's say, post unmerge. If you do the unmerge, after unmerge is done successfully, then this program will run, this script. That's why it is called as post unmerge. So depending upon your requirement, you see what user exit you want. For example, this requirement, it is clear that I need pre-stage, because in pre-stage we have the count of the delta, not in post load, not in post match, right? So I have to implement this user exit. Similarly, I have a requirement like um, archiving the rejected records. So I would like to store the rejected records. So can I use a pre-stage user exit? No. If you use a pre-stage user exit, there won't be any data in the reject table. You must use post-stage or any play. If you want to play around the reject table, you must use post-stage. Okay. Then this requirement says that put records on hold for certain group of data. So you have a clear-cut requirement from the business that you put records on hold for a group of data. Okay, not for all. Why? I mean, the business tells you clearly that, okay, we've got some problems with this particular customers. So what you do is you don't make them master data. You just hold them. I mean, just keep them aside. I will tell you when you need to reprocess, but don't do it now. So basically, all I want to execute a query like this: updates C party set consolidation indicator is equal to 9, where party type is equal to person, consolidation indicator is equal to 4. This is what I want to do. Consolidation indicator, I'd like to change it to 9. That's my objective. Okay. And why would I use a post load user exit? Why not pre-stage? Because I want to do it after the load is done. That's my requirement. So I must use post load. Now what is the problem if I use post match user exit to implement this requirement? If I do that, then this will change to 2 and this query will not give me anything. No results, 0 results. So try to understand timing is important, and that's why we have different user exits. Okay, now how these user exits are implemented, you can see the cases later, remaining cases, simple only. See, if you are in anything before 961, then it was using packages, PL SQL packages. Okay, now if you're anything after 961, like our current version is 10.1. Okay, so in our version you have to do it using the Java. Okay, you can also actually do it using packages. I mean, the backward compatibility is still there, but you are not supposed to do that. I mean, you should not do that. Okay, you should not do it using packages anymore. You should do it using Java, but you will see that they are pretty much the same. I mean, looks like, okay, package Java, it looks like a mess, but you will see they are like, this is the same kind of thing in a different style. Okay, let's see one user exit, then probably you will understand. First of all, let's see the old version quickly, how to implement user exit in old version. See, the logic is very simple. It's really simple. Don't complicate it. Just see this. By default, there will be a package called as CMX UE. I'm talking about old version like 901 till 961. Okay, till 960. So if you're in old version, then there will be by default this procedure, this package will be there, CMX UE by default. Okay, and this will contain lot of procedures. So for example, procedure post landing. This is nothing but post landing user exit. Similarly, you will have like procedure pre-stage. This is pre-stage user exit. Similarly, post stage. Then I've got like post load. Okay, so pre-stage, post-stage, pre-unmerge, all the user exits that we have discussed, you will see all of them as procedures. All right, as procedures. Now you have your requirement. What is your requirement? Your requirement is you want to implement this business scenario. So if you want to implement this business scenario, basically you have to fire this query, isn't it? I mean, your objective is to fire this query. That's what you want. Fire this query where? Something like pre-stage. So what you do is you can just like copy this, Control C, and let's imagine I am doing this change directly in the database. Okay, so I can go to the procedure and I can go to like pre-stage. So this is pre-stage. Okay, and whatever requirement you have, your SQL, just put it here and save it. All right, put it and save it. Now when Informatica runs a mapping, it will check if it has any entries like this. In this procedure, it will execute this procedure. You understand, right? This procedure, Informatica will execute it. So if you have written any SQL statement, so Informatica will execute this SQL statement. Or you're calling any, for example, in this project, they are calling like mid-dash util, then set ES date of birth gender. So they are doing something, some manipulation on the landing table. You can do anything, any customization. All right, so this one is very simple. You understand, right? For people from Power Center, this is, you already know this. This is like dropping indexes, creating indexes. So you put the SQL statement directly. That's it. So pretty much the same logic here. You put the SQL statement. Okay. So if you want to implement a post, let's say this user exit, just imagine like if you want to do it on this user exit. So copy this and go to like post load. All right. So go to post load user exit. So have I created, so did I create this procedures? No, I will not create these procedures. They will be there by default. Okay. You don't have to create any procedure. So post load. So this is post load user exit. Okay. So if you want to do any customization, so for example, in this project, they have a big, what you can say, some customization they are doing. So whatever customization you want to do, just you put that PL SQL or SQL here. Okay. So in this project, they've done big customization. It doesn't matter. So you can just go your customization. You can put it here. Okay. And one interesting thing is like you can also pass the parameters. For example, let's say if I go and check a pre-stage user exit, in a pre-stage user exit, you can see like in row ID object, in row ID job, what is all that? This is the row ID of the job, then the landing table name, staging table name, delta table name. So you don't have to hard code anything. You understand, right? You don't have to hard code anything because Informatica will pass these values in these parameters, these variables. In these parameters, Informatica will pass these values. You just need to read the values and do the logic. For example, see here, what it is doing, see here, mid-dash util. In this case, I'm hard coding the table name. You don't hard code it. Normally, you should pass this value, whatever you're getting here. You should not hard code because the name of this DLT table can change in, let's say, 10.2 Informatica 1 releases. They might rename it as DELTA table. So your code will become invalid if they do it. So don't hard code. Okay. So anyway, this is what is the user exit in procedures, the old version. In the new version also, it's pretty much a similar logic only. If you understood the old version, there should not be any problem in implementing in the new version. Okay, in the new version, this has to be done in the Java side. Now in the Java side, let's say the same requirement, whatever we talked about, this requirement, all right. So this thing, insert into this, select count from this. So I would like to implement this requirement here. So this is the equivalent code for that. Okay. So I don't think that I've installed Eclipse here. I will install Eclipse because you need to do it in Eclipse. But I think because of space issue, I've removed the Eclipse. Yeah, Eclipse, 1 minute. So what you do is you later install this Eclipse. I will search. Okay, I've got Eclipse. Copy this and I'll paste it here. So you can download this from the internet, Eclipse, JE and all that. This thing you can note it down and you can download this from internet. It's a free thing. Okay. Then unzip. This will take like a year because it's very slow with this default. Okay, let it do. We'll see that. Anyway, we'll see the Eclipse. No need to worry. I'll show you how to implement this. But first, let's try to understand. Okay, in this program, you can see here what I'm doing. I am implementing pre-stage user exit, isn't it? Why? How do I know? It's written here, right? Pre-stage user exit. What if you want to implement post-stage user exit? So you have to write like post-stage user exit. Okay, simple logic, right? Then what is user exit context? See, this is the user exit you have to import from Informatica. What is user exit context? User exit context is something which will contain your database connection. So if you observe this area, this is nothing but my database connection. Okay, get DB connection. So I need to connect to database. So I need this. So this is like mandatory in every user exit. So this is something you can copy paste this thing in any code. Then import the Apache logger. Why would I do that? I want to write information to log files, Apache log file. So I'm using this. It's not mandatory. And what is this? I would like to use SQL statements. So you can say like, I want to execute SQL statements, and if you want to do that, you have to import the java.sql. Alright. Then public class pre-stage UE implements this. So it's always like this. So public class XYZ implements pre-stage user exit. So this can be anything. This can be anything, but this should be the name of the user exit. If you want to implement post match, write here post match. Whatever it is, you need to write that user exit. Okay. And then I'm initializing the logger. So before you can use the logger, you have to initialize the logger. You can see that basically I'm just initializing the logger. Static logger log is equal to logger.get logger, all that. Just initializing. Then I'll wrap it. Okay. Then public void. So do you recognize this? This is similar to, see what it contains. It contains the staging table name, landing table name, delta table name, user exit context. Do you recognize if I compare this with the procedure? Do you see it is passing like landing table name, staging table name, delta table name? You see, right, how it was passing these three? So this is the same thing here. It is passing the staging table name, landing table name, delta table name, and user exit context, which was not there earlier. So in the procedure, that user exit context is not there because this is a new concept. Using this, you will connect to the database. Okay. Now I'm writing something to the log file. So this information I'm writing to the log file. Then string row ID job is equal to user exit context get batch job row ID. So this from here to here, it's just I'm writing some information on the log file. So what kind of information? Just the name of the landing table, staging table, delta table. What is the row ID? I mean job ID. Okay. So that thing I'm writing. This is not mandatory. You can do this. You can skip it. So you can also delete this. Doesn't matter. The main program starts with here. So this one. Connection con n is equal to user exit context dot get db connection. So I'm getting the database connection here. You can understand that if I want to execute a SQL query, I must connect to the database. Is it possible to execute a query without connecting to database? Is it possible? No, right? So you must connect. Now you might be thinking, okay, so he's connecting, that's okay. But where is the user ID, password, TNS names? Where is he giving, I mean, the port name, where he is providing that? I am not providing that because that's what is there in this get DB connection. I don't have to do it because when I use this standard line, Informatica will supply the credentials. I don't have to do it. Okay. Then I've created a connection. Then in that connection, I'm posting a procedure. So prepare call, begin, pre-stage. What is pre-stage? Pre-stage is a procedure. You can directly write SQL statements, or better, you put them in procedures and call the procedures. That's always better. You can understand easily and manage, right? So all what I'm doing is I'm calling a procedure with 2 question marks. What does it mean? The 2 question mark means I'm sending some parameters. So if you see the delta table name, from here I got the delta table name, right? So this one, from here I got the delta table name, and this delta table name I'm passing it here, and then the staging table name I'm passing as the second parameter to my procedure. Okay, and if you see the definition of the procedure, this one is very simple. This contains the definition of the procedure. So you can see here I'm creating a sequence, just like a sequence 1 2 3 4 dot dot dot. Then I'm creating a table, create table. This is the table that will hold your count, the delta count. Then I say like create or replace procedure, pre-stage. Can you see this in delta table name, in staging table name? So these two values I am supplying that in the Java program. So this two question mark is nothing but the delta table name, staging table name, that I'm supplying it here, delta table name, staging table name. And then all what I'm doing is I'm just executing a statement called as insert into delta table, then select the count from the insert into the delta log table, select the count from the delta table. I am selecting the count from the delta table and just inserting that value in the delta logs table. Very simple logic, right? So what is execute immediate? This is dynamic SQL. So if you want to make this thing dynamic, then you have to do it. It's not mandatory, so you can remove that also. I'm passing these values here, so I have used it. You can also use other techniques. The main objective is to execute the SQL statement. That's it. That's the main objective. Okay. So basically what I'm doing is I'm calling this pre-stage user exit, this procedure from here, but the beauty is I am passing parameters. That's the thing. So the delta table name I am passing it here, and the staging table name I'm passing it here. That's the only specialty. Otherwise it's pretty much same, right? Now to implement this user exit, what you have to do is you should have Eclipse. So Eclipse, you can download it, and just 1 minute.
Sunil,
Yeah,
okay, as you says, the procedure, so that procedure would be like an inside the MDM, or it should be inside the database,
but
Oracle
procedure
database.
should be inside the MDM database, ORS database. Can also be in a different database also, but normally we keep it in an ORS database.
Okay.
Okay, so see, you install this, see Eclipse. Now Eclipse is something you don't install Eclipse, okay? You don't need to install Eclipse, just download, extract, done. Download an extract, that's done. But before this, just make sure that, okay, just before this, just make sure that you download JDK, Java Development Kit. Okay, so JDK you can get it from internet itself, JDK. I'm not sure this machine contains JDK or not. Let me check quickly. So in Java, so this does not contain JDK. I have to install JDK. Just one precaution, when you're installing JDK, you use this 1.7 version. Do not install 1.8. If you do that, your user exit programs will not run. So make sure that you install 1.7. How do you get it? Just say JDK 1.7 and go here. So it's archived. So just go to like visit our, please update your bookmarks. Okay, 1 minute. I think they have archived it. I will have the copy. Java, yeah, 780, something like this. You can use it. Okay, so agreed. Then Windows 64, this one. Okay, I have to log in like. So you download that. This is like my ID, but it is almost like 7-8 years old ID. Okay, first install JDK. Once JDK is done, then you can open the, then it should be ready. Okay. Tomorrow I'll tell you how to use the Eclipse. Okay. So you keep it in your system and understand the user exit concept. We will see the remaining things. Right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Somina. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Sunil, I have sent you the request. Hello?
I will check it now.
Yeah, just after I have sent you the request.
Okay, right. Okay, thanks, guys.